Hi, everyone. This is Faith Howard Mooney of the Mortgage Collaborative, and we are in the new year now. Yay, 2021
Woohoo.
behind us. I have with me Amanda Myers, who is the SVP of Mortgage Lending at Idaho Central Credit Union. Thanks for doing this with me today, Amanda.
My pleasure. I'm excited.
Yeah, super fun. We were just talking before we came on here about redheadedness, and I have one sitting behind me right now, so he pops his head around everybody.
He is my co-partner today for the interview, so he will help me be relaxed.
Yep, it's a redhead day. So let's get started. It's really hard to believe that Idaho Central has been within TMC since December of 2020.
Yeah.
So kind of like lost a year there. We're going on 2 years. We love your participation that you have. So today's kind of a way to get to know you a little bit better. So
Excellent.
share with us what your first job ever was.
First job ever was taco time, which I absolutely loved because I love Mexican food. And oddly enough, the manager there made most of the food really fresh. Like he would go to the grocery store to buy his supplies. And I don't know how I was not a blimp after working there for 3 years in high school, because I ate so much of that fried food and it was delicious. I think minimum wage at that time, I want to say I was like at $7.10 or something. And I thought it was great. I loved it working through high school. It was awesome. I loved it.
That's a fantastic first job. That's better than a lot of them that I heard, for sure. Share with us after that, kind of how, it's always interesting to hear someone's story about how they came into the industry. A lot of people just kind of fall into it in a weird way. Tell me what your story is and how you got into the mortgage industry and how long you've been in.
So I started at Idaho Central Credit Union in 2005, right after I finished college. I worked at Taco Time in high school, and then I worked at Old Navy in retail during college. And then I wanted to kind of get out of retail, the holidays, the nights, the weekends. And I was a member at Idaho Central Credit Union, and they had an open teller position. And when I would visit that branch, the tellers would say, you should apply, we'd love to have you work here. And I thought, oh, they'll never hire me. I don't have any kind of banking experience, but sure, it would be nice to have banker's hours. Why not? So I applied to be a teller and got the position. And so I was a teller for probably about 3 months. And then I moved into a financial officer trainer position, where I trained people in the branch who were doing loans and new accounts. And honest to goodness, I was like 22 years old when I started at the credit union, and I didn't even know really what a mortgage was. Like that word to me was like, I don't know what that means. Equity, I don't know what that is. So a steep learning curve, but the credit union was so good to me and gave me a lot of training. And I did a lot of training at Old Navy, and so I kind of had that experience and that talent to train people. And so trained, consumer loan officers in the branches, and then became a branch manager. And that was 2007 when I became a branch manager. And before that, Idaho Central wasn't doing a lot of mortgage lending. We would maybe do 10 to 15 a month. It was all centralized to a small team of 3 people in our corporate offices in Pocatello. Well, 2007 or 2005, we also hired Ed Tierney, who is our chief lending officer. And he came to Idaho Central with a mortgage background and saw the mortgage production and kind of saw what the process was for a member to get a mortgage at Idaho Central, and said, we've got to do better. We've got to revamp this. We've got to do better. As a credit union, we can make a lot of money doing mortgage lending. And we can also serve our members in a better way by being able to offer them more mortgage products and make it a better process. So they kind of revamped everything. And in 2007, they said, we're going to train all of our branch managers to do mortgages. And they're going to be the face to the member. And they're going to take the application. They're going to communicate with the member. We'll have underwriters and processors who will do everything on the back end, but we're going to train branch managers to do mortgages. So I was trained to do mortgage lending in 2007 and loved it. Absolutely loved it. Knew that's where I wanted to be. And in 2008, we introduced the mortgage loan officer position. We didn't have full-time mortgage loan officers before that, but we knew, okay, our next involvement really is to have mortgage loan officers that do these full-time. Branch managers are, of course, busy with lots of other things, and it's gone really well. But now we need to train more people. So I actually became a mortgage loan officer in 2008. And again, just absolutely loved it, and was a loan officer for a while, and then managed loan officers, and then eventually moved into my current position. So
What a great story.
yeah, love
And
it. So fortunate. Love it. Love it.
lucky to have found your home kind of right away. That doesn't happen a lot of times. There's a
Yeah,
lot
exactly.
involved, but how fantastic for you. That's an awesome story.
Yeah.
When you're starting down that path, you already said you were 22 years old. You really, it's like starting fresh, not knowing anything. And sometimes there's a great thing about starting fresh and not knowing anything, 'cause,
Sure.
differently. But is there one thing that you wish that you kind of knew at that point in time that would have helped you, that became very clear to you after you'd been in for a while?
Yeah, I would say there are several things, but one of the things that I really look back on, and this is kind of ultra specific, but it's just one of the things that stands out to me, is I wish that I would have sold service more than rate in the beginning. I feel like, in the beginning, you feel like you have to compete on rate, and you've got to be the best rate. And it feels like that's just a rat race when you're competing on rate all the time. And there's always going to be somebody who's willing to go lower than you are. There just always is. And it just feels like you're constantly trying to maintain and be the best and figure out rates and fees. And probably within about a year or two of becoming a loan officer, there was just finally this aha moment where I said, you know what? Idaho Central offers a really great process. Our service is amazing. We retain our loans for the most part. That's a huge thing for people. And I don't need to make concessions because we offer a better product. We just do. And I finally started to learn to tell people, you get what you pay for. And you probably are going to find someone who will have lower fees than us, but you're going to get what you pay for. And with us, you are going to get a higher level of service, and we are going to retain your loan afterwards. And that's going to mean a lot to you, and you're going to really love that. And a lot of these other places that are just the low rate, low fee leaders, you never know where your loan's going to end up. And maybe for some of you, that's fine. And you don't care if you make your payment to someone different every year. But for a lot of people, that really is valuable. So just that moment when I really learned to be able to say, you get what you pay for, was incredible for me. And it felt like there was much less of a rat race going on, and I was more confident in what I was doing. And honestly, there were a lot of people that said, you're right, and I'm going to go with you. And then that ended the conversation, and we weren't constantly talking about rates and fees after that.
Yeah.
So for me, that was a really cool aha moment of, man, my job feels so much easier now. And did I lose some loans? Sure, I absolutely lost some, but it was the few. I mean, it was the rare exception. Most of the time people said, you're right, I agree with you. Let's move forward.
And in the environment that we're heading into, that is like the greatest
Right.
advice for anybody who, especially people that have entered in the last couple of years that really haven't had to truly sell.
In a rising rate environment, right?
Yeah, exactly. That is just awesome advice for somebody coming in. You said there were a couple. You want to give us the other one?
Yeah, I was ultra competitive as a young person too. And I think in the beginning, was always out to beat somebody else. And again, learned pretty quickly. You probably get a little bit further, and I'm still competitive. But I think I learned pretty quickly, I'm probably better off if I'm really trying to be better than what I did, right? Instead of just consistently wanting to be number one, beating the next person, beating the next person. I really learned to focus more on me and what did I do better than I did last year? Did I do better than I did last month? And where can I improve? And if I focus more on myself and where I can do better versus in comparison to others, guess what? I'm usually on the top too. Imagine that. But again, it just feels a little bit better. It feels more organic and doesn't feel as combative that way, to just look more internally and say, how can I be better every day? And again, I still look at everybody else, but instead of just having that be the number one goal to beat somebody else, there was a lot more value and satisfaction in being a better person for me and better than I was. So
you can be more your genuine self, I think, get into that kind of mode. And you, we probably have about, all of our lender members in the network are going to listen to this, and then they're going to shoot it out to their sales team. Some of the best pieces of advice for, somebody, I think, to think about when you're more on that production side. So that is just awesome. You weren't in mortgage, probably hard for you to imagine. What would you be
Yeah,
doing?
no kidding, right? When I was in college, my degree is in pre-law political science. So obviously had no kind of banking, mortgage lending on my radar. And I thought, well, if I get married in college, I'll become a high school government teacher. If I don't, I'll go to law school and I'll become a lawyer. I do love teaching. Honest to goodness, I just love, love, love teaching and training. And so I think if I wasn't in mortgage lending, I probably would be in education somehow. I love the concept of charter schools. I think they're great. I think they really fill a need. I like some of the charter schools that are a little more geared to life learning and financial education. So I would love to participate with some kind of education on finances for people. I think that's really lacking in the public school sector. I think we do not teach enough about life skills, and I think that's really backwards. I don't know why I need to learn why a monkey behaves the way a monkey behaves over why credit is important and what I can do to build my credit. I think that's far more important to my life.
Yeah.
So I think the education system is interesting, but I would love to educate people about finances and get them started on the right path. I think a lot of people learn by making mistakes.
Sure.
And sometimes that's just how we learn. But I would also love to help people avoid the mistakes and just get on the path the right way at the very beginning and be able to relieve that stress that a financial burden can create.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great to teach all of our young people about wealth building? I mean,
Yes.
it's like, or managing your
Mhm.
households or all of those
Yep.
things. I have a bunch of teachers in my family. As a matter of fact, my daughter is a licensed teacher.
Awesome.
And it's just, it's a big gap, I think, that we have here in the United States
Agreed.
right now, for sure.
Yep.
You live in a beautiful place that not everybody probably has had the chance to go to
Yeah.
Idaho. I know that with the great resignation, or what everybody's calling it, you've probably seen a lot of movement into
Yes.
your area. But if any of us end up in Idaho, what's the one thing that we should make sure that we do in that beautiful state?
You've got to experience the mountains and the forests. And really, probably anywhere you go in Idaho, you're going to be close to that. So if you go to Boise, the Cascade, Donley, Tamarack, McCall area is absolutely gorgeous. Great whitewater rafting on the river there. If you go to Twin Falls, which is kind of another hub, you're only an hour and a half away from Sun Valley. Sun Valley is beautiful and gorgeous. If you come here to Pocatello, you're only an hour and a half-ish, 2 hours away from Yellowstone and Jackson Hole, which are both beautiful and amazing. And just the mountains and the landscape is gorgeous. And if you like to do anything outdoors, no matter where you go in Idaho, you're going to be close to it. And it's beautiful. And it's fantastic. It's a great state.
Yeah, it's one of those places that I think is like a best kept secret.
Yes.
It's like best kept.
Other than, of course, Boise's been one of the fastest growing markets in the country, for the last couple of years, but
yeah,
it is great. It's really great. We love it.
Well, that's it. I appreciate you doing this. We appreciate you here at TMC. You're always such a shining light in our days when we have a chance to talk and interact with you and the team there. So we appreciate that. And I hope you have a great 2022.
Thank you.
No doubt in my mind that you were meant to be where you're at.
That's right. I totally agree.
You've had great success. So as always, let us know if there's anything that we can do for you, and have a great 2022.
You too. We appreciate everything you do for us. Thank you.
Thank you.